Hello, and welcome to Andrew Broussard Watercolors. Today I wanted to share a photography experiment that I've been working on. So with photography, I do all analog, meaning I'm using film, I'm developing the film at home, and I've been playing around with different ways of printing the film through the cyanotype, through Van Dyke process, and traditional darkroom. So usually with a large format camera, I go out, I put my film inside of a darkroom, and wherever my camera's all ready, I set it up, I pull this to expose the film, I click the shutter, close it, bring it back home, and develop it. So this experiment was using paper as the negative, darkroom paper as the negative. Essentially, in the dark or in a dark room, I put my photographic paper in there, close it up, and whenever it's time to take a photo, I expose it, close it, bring it back home, and develop it like photo paper. So a few things why I was going to do this experiment. It is an antique process. I believe this was the way it was done prior to the advent of the flimsy acetate film, or you know what I'm talking about, just the film in general. Around that time, I think they were using glass and other things as well that they were coating and using that as their negative. So that was one reason to try it. Second reason was price. Cheap photo paper is cheaper than 4x5 film, and I've been experimenting with the unorthodox lithography film, etc. in there. And third reason is just to get the old-timey look, just to see. So that being said, photo paper is orthochromatic, just like the lithography film that I'm using, meaning that it's not red sensitive. So it's going to make things look a little bit different. If I understand correctly, if you use orthochromatic, not red sensitive, if you were to take a portrait, and if they had maybe red lipstick on, it would come out black. The reds, I believe, come out black. Same thing with bricks, etc. So that was the few things in just the experiment process. I did a few. I'm going to show you a few that I did on my first trial run, just kind of a proof of concept. And the interesting thing to note is that if you're doing pinhole photography, you're going to get that negative image on the paper itself. And I'm going to talk about what I did to get that. Anyway, so these are just a few examples, just so you could see what I'm talking about. This was a contact print that I made from it. I'll talk about that later. And here are some that I did where I just took the same scene and I played around with apertures. Now the goal of this is to then take that negative, put it upside down in the darkroom on top of photographic paper and expose it and make a contact printed positive. And I'll show that in the next video. I just wanted to show this experiment so far. This was on a I was using a Crown Graflex camera. I rated the paper at ISO 1 because I had a yellow filter over it. And this one was probably a wide aperture, open for about half a second. I want to say this one was 1 second at a smaller aperture. Smaller aperture for 5 seconds, I believe. And then even smaller, like 32 for this one right here. So I think that was 30 seconds. So it's just experimenting with the same scene, seeing what would happen. And from there, seeing if I needed to widen the time that my light meter gave me. I'm not a photo expert, but with film and certain things, you have this thing where the chemical doesn't react as consistent as it's exposed longer. I can't pronounce it. It's like reciprocity. So if you're exposing for 30 seconds, you might have to account for that and expose for 45 or a minute. So I did some that were longer time periods just to see, and I just got a overexposed negative. So everything up to 30 seconds was good, and then everything after that, accounting for the light meter and doubling it, I wound up just getting some overexposed images. So that was my first experiment. Very easy to set up, very easy to process. I'm going to create another video showing the contact prints that I made from these. All right. Thank you, and I'll talk to you all soon.